Hello, welcome to Noise Complaint. I'm joined by Kylo Ren, also called Steve.
Hey, thank you, Nelson, to help me on the program.
It's great to have you here.
Thank you. Today Bella couldn't make it, so I'm glad to be a guest on the show and to have a good time with you guys.
Okay, maybe we should take our mask off.
Yeah,
Yeah,
that
okay.
would be a great
Yeah,
idea.
okay. Bella is not here, obviously. This is Steve. Bella's at a protest, so I hope she's doing well. But Steve was nice enough last minute to make it and fill in. And today we have a very interesting show. It's loosely related to sound and music, but a bit more focused on sort of friendship or our friendship. So the way it's going to work is we'll structure the whole show around these 36 questions. We won't get to all of them, but it's a quiz or a series of questions normally made for lovers. We are not lovers, but the quiz, I think, also will help us accelerate our own intimacy as friends. And you can follow along. I'm going to put the quiz in the comments. And that's the New York Times article about the quiz. But it's basically based on a study that was done by Arthur Aaron and a few other researchers, and they discovered that there was this increased correlation with intimacy based on these 36 questions. And you're supposed to, at the end of the quiz, make 4 minutes of eye contact. So we'll see if we can make it. But yeah, first, maybe Steve, it'd be better if you talk a bit about like where you're from, who you are, how you know me.
So I'm from Vienna, from Austria, and I met Nelson last year in Brussels when we started together the Four Cities Masters. Before that, did my bachelor's in cultural and social anthropology. I used to play the guitar for 10 years.
Wow.
Unfortunately, I don't have so much time for that anymore.
Mm-hmm.
I'm super interested in history. I'm super interested in politics.
Yeah.
I talk a lot about it with
That's
my
true.
friends.
That's
I'm
true.
a big supporter of Man United, so that's another
Also
big
very
thing
true.
going for me. And I'm very excited to be here for the first time on the show. Actually, I think the first time on the radio since
Wow, debut.
No, I mean, 15 years ago, I think I was on the radio once.
Why were you on the radio 15 years ago?
There was something, a project for children where you could talk. Yeah.
You
it was
just
fun.
for children, like
Yeah.
in Vienna.
Yeah,
Okay.
basically. Yeah. But I can't remember the details.
Okay, so first adult radio debut.
Definitely.
Amazing. Well, thanks again for coming. So I think we're going to start with the first set of questions. Now, apparently, these questions get more and more deep and intimate as they go along. So we're starting a bit lighter. And if you're following at home, you can also, practice these if you're with your partner or a friend. But the first question for you, Steve. Given the choice of anyone in the world, whom would you want as a dinner guest?
I think Harrison Ford. Oh.
Harrison Ford.
Yeah, because he's a great actor.
Okay.
I enjoyed his movies a lot, and I think I would have a nice time with him. But also right now, because I'm like far away from home,
Yeah.
and I haven't seen my friends and families in like 3 months.
Mm-hmm.
There are a bunch of friends I would love to invite to a dinner. at
So
my
maybe it's a
home.
dinner party with Harrison Ford
Yeah, I guess so.
as the star.
Yeah,
What's your favorite movie with Harrison Ford in it?
I guess Star Wars, the old movies, and I love Indiana Jones.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah,
What do you think you'd make if you had to cook dinner for Harrison Ford?
that's a good question. Probably some beef schnitzel. Just like
Okay, that sounds
I
great.
think-
I mean,
I
I
think
don't
he
eat
would-
beef, but that sounds really
I
good.
think he'd love it.
You think? Okay,
Yeah.
I think so as well. Okay, second question. Would you like to be famous? If so, in what way?
I guess so. As someone who contributed a lot to the world or to a city or to a region and make a place a better place.
Okay. Do you think you'll be famous?
I hope so.
Well,
Maybe I'm right now.
Yeah, maybe this is the fame. Okay, let's do a few more where you ask these
Yeah.
next few questions, starting with 3.
Before making a telephone call, do you ever rehearse what you're going to say and why?
Yeah, usually, if it's with like my parents, maybe I'll think of stuff to say ahead of time. I'm just thinking of like I've made a lot of phone calls for work. I used to work in the criminal justice system in the States, so I had to call a lot of people who didn't want to talk to me to try to get information out of them. So I spent lots of times preparing phone calls with like telephone companies to try to convince them that they should give me all of the information from this one phone number, even though our subpoena or the documents we submitted didn't work. So I've done a lot of preparing dreadful phone calls, and that is kind of triggering. But generally, I would say no, I don't prepare. I just call.
I see it the same way as you. Whenever you've got bureaucratical problems,
Yeah.
you really even write down stuff to what you want to know, what you want to ask. The documents, it's always a horror.
Like
to
the
do.
Danish, visa process.
Oh yeah,
Like where I
I
waited
remember
for
that.
an hour on hold while I was in a car in Austria, and then all the person said was, "Hey, you tried to upload the passport photos and they didn't come through, so you should try that again." It was like I just waited for an hour. Anyway,
I remember you had to upload them as a Word document.
Yeah.
Maybe somewhere's out there who needs
if
this
yeah,
information.
if the Danish authorities are listening, you should figure out your portal for uploading documents. Okay, let's do one more question, then we're gonna get to some music.
What would constitute a perfect day for you?
Okay, I wake up at 10. I have peanut butter toast with banana and honey on it. And I'm eating this surrounded by friends. So Steve is there and a few others. Then I go to the gym. And there's no one in the gym. It's not crowded. Then I it's only noon. I still have a full day. Then I play the ukulele a bit, maybe sing, and then go to school because I like school. And then maybe we go to a bar and play board games like we're gonna do later today. And that's perfect day.
Great.
Okay, let's play some music. So we're now gonna start this. So I asked Steve to come up with some songs that he thought represented me, and then I also came up with some songs that I think represent him to me. So this is the first song that I think Steve represents. So we'll play the song and then we'll talk about it. What a bop! Great song, right, Steve?
Yeah, I absolutely love that song.
Yeah.
It took me some years though to find out what it actually means.
What does it? Yeah, what does it mean? I don't know.
So basically, it hardly has anything to do with Japan.
Okay.
It's basically about people dreaming being famous in another place.
Huh.
There's this interpretation that it's about a lover couple and they are at the Bahnhof, at the railway station Zoo
Yeah.
in Berlin.
Okay.
They're full of drugs and they're basically imagining being famous, having a lot of money and being successful
Okay.
somewhere else. And of course, Japan is far away from Europe and the
Yeah.
United States. So that's like what they thought about, like being big in Japan. That's what
I had
it's
no
really
idea.
about. Yeah.
To me, I picked this song to represent Steve because we took a bus about a year ago to Amsterdam, and on that bus, we were both very tired in the morning, kind of going up to Amsterdam from Brussels, and we were listening to music together, and I sort of played this song by accident maybe, and he said, "Oh, this is like one of my favorite songs." So that's why it's one of the first songs that comes to mind when I'm thinking, okay, what's a song that is Steve? And yeah, the rest of that trip to Amsterdam we won't talk about because it was a long day. A fun day, but a 3 a.m. bus ride back to Brussels is not ideal.
Yeah. Though I love the kebab we had.
Yeah, we had really good kebab and falafel and Snickers
yeah.
bars. But maybe we get back to this 36 question quiz. So the number 5 question is, when did you last sing to yourself or to someone else? This is maybe not the best question because we're just singing right now.
Yeah, I mean, like we were singing a bit of Big in Japan tonight.
Yeah.
But
Okay.
I think I sing to myself every day almost a song that pops up in my head.
Is it usually the same song or does it rotate?
It rotates, but sometimes it might be that the same song sticks with me for a few hours. Yeah.
Okay. All right. And then this next question. If you were able to live to the age of 90 and retain either the mind or body of a 30-year-old for the last 60 years of your life, which would you want? So you either get the mind or the body.
That's a very intriguing question because I think like there are 90-year-old people who have a really good brain, but their body, of course, doesn't work anymore with it. Or there are people who have a very bad mind at the age of 90. So if I have a good mind at the age of 90 with all the experience I have from life, then it would be great to go back, have all the experience and go back to when you're 30 with your body. But of course, if my mind is super bad at the age of 90, I would rather go back with my mind. Like losing my mind is one of my biggest fears, probably.
Yeah, you talk about it all the time.
Yeah, I know.
You think you're losing your mind.
I know.
Every day. So is your answer mind or body?
I think I'll be fit at 90 in my mind, so I'll go with the body.
Okay. Okay, we're going to switch gears slightly. First, I want to respond to a few comments in the comment section. So interesting that Rocket Man, Ron, Kristen Bell, interesting dinner guest probably. I will not be eating a peanut butter toast today on the air. I do have an apple, which I might eat later in the show if you're lucky. And yeah, I'm going to put in the chat now a sort of a BuzzFeed quiz. It's not BuzzFeed, but it's the same idea. This is a quiz, and the title is, well, it says quiz. 7 simple personal questions reveal what Soviet leader you are. So Steve, if you know Steve, you know that he knows a lot about history, and particularly about the history of the USSR, correct?
I'd say so.
Yes. So we are going to take this quiz live for Steve to figure out what Soviet leader he is based on this comprehensive set of 7 questions. So first question, what drink do you prefer? And then there are a few answers, it's multiple choice. A, no more than a pint of beer, vodka, 1 shot, then 2 shots, followed by 3 shots. I don't drink, red wine, or let's have shots until we pass out.
I'd say I want to be the third one. I don't drink because, like, I think politicians should have a.
This is not UK. This is just what drink do you prefer?
Take the vodka.
Okay, vodka, 1 shot. Okay,
Yeah.
he answered vodka. Question 2: do you smoke? I mean, you either do you smoke a pipe? No, you don't smoke a pipe.
I mean, I smoke sometimes.
You're a passive smoker. I like it when others smoke around me, maybe.
Yeah.
Or because this doesn't have an answer that's just I smoke, which is annoying.
Which is annoying.
So we'll go passive smoker. Okay, question number 3. What would you rather be doing in your spare time? Chess, reading, hunting, nothing special, or you don't have hobbies?
I'd read.
Read, writing poems, watching a movie. Okay. What do your parents do? Artisans, they work the land, blue collar workers, white collar workers, special knowledge, they're in the army. That's I answered white collar workers. Sorry.
Yeah, that's fine.
Okay, I accidentally clicked.
True, but like, yeah.
Okay, this scientific quiz is not going so well. Okay, now, how many kids do you have, or are you planning to have? You're childless, that's true.
Yeah.
But are you planning to have 1, 2, 3, or more than 3 kids?
I'm childless.
Okay. Which of the following career paths do you prefer? Lawyer, theologian, farmer, an engineer, or the prosecutor's office? Very specific.
A farmer.
Steve the farmer. Okay, I think this is the last question. Where do you prefer to spend your holidays? Abroad, your country of residence, Crimea, sounds about right, in any of Russia's national parks, or any place on Earth but Crimea?
I'd say in any of Russia's
national parks.
National parks.
All right, and Steve, your Soviet leader, calculating results. You got, who's this?
Brezhnev.
Brezhnev.
Yeah,
Tell me about Brezhnev.
So Brezhnev succeeded Khrushchev in the 1960s.
Okay.
He was the leader for quite a long time,
Okay.
15 years, so very
Yeah.
influential period of the Soviet Union, and kind of like in the 60s, the Soviet Union had a quite impressive economic growth.
Mm-hmm.
But like during the 70s, I mean, also the oil crisis, for
Yeah.
instance, hit the Soviet Union.
Yeah.
He couldn't really retain the system, and like
Mm.
once he died, you had two leaders, Andropov and Chernenko were their
Okay.
names.
Okay.
Both of them were very old men when they were elected by the party, and the deal with that was, of course, they don't know whom to put in power. They
Yeah.
don't know whom to put in power, and like they knew, okay, they will die soon, so like to give them time to like
Yeah.
figure out someone else. And then of course at the end they came out with Gorbachev. But yeah, Brezhnev, he started like the Afghan invasion,
Okay.
also in 1979,
Yeah.
like, which was ultimately the downfall, or the early downfall, of the Soviet Union. Yeah, but I mean, there was some in the Soviet time, right? There were also like there was more and more also entertainment for the people, and
Yeah.
like people got a TV or so. So it was also a time where I think you can say the living standards still rose in the
Yeah.
Soviet Union, like compared to like when it was gone. Like there were horrible statistics of like the social security system, health,
Mm-hmm.
and food, like
Mm-hmm.
starvation grew in the
Yeah.
early 90s.
Yeah.
Yeah.
So is this satisfying to you? Like, do you feel like this leader, this Soviet, represents you at your core, or would you pick someone else maybe?
Yeah, I guess I'd pick someone else, isn't
Who
it?
do you have someone in mind?
I'd probably go with. I mean, he was never a leader, probably, but like I said, go with Trotsky,
Okay.
because I think like in the early Soviet Union, if he had won the power struggle against Stalin, I think the country would have gone a better direction in world history.
Okay.
I guess.
All right. That's Steve's take on Trotsky. So we're gonna play another song, and this is a song that Steve thought of when I asked him to come up with songs that represent me. So here's a banger as well, I think. All right, that was Randy Newman on "You've Got a Friend in Me." And Steve, why did you pick that song? May I ask?
I mean, it's quite an obvious choice
Yes.
about friendship, I think.
True.
But it's also something very nostalgic, I'd say, like
Yeah.
going back to Toy Story.
Mm-hmm.
Reminds me a lot of my childhood. Also
Mm.
had its very creepy moments. I remember like the baby spider with, remember
You
the
talking about in Toy
spider?
Story?
Yeah.
Yeah, it's Toy Story is a scary
Toy
movie.
Toy Story has
Like
really
the last 20 minutes could be a horror movie. I mean,
Yeah.
when he's stuck in that kid's room with the demented toys,
Yeah. That's like really
traumatizing.
really traumatizing. But like You've Got a Friend in Me always means like there's someone you can come to, someone you
Yeah.
can talk to.
Yeah.
And a very powerful and meaningful song.
Yeah.
Pixar, back then Pixar wasn't part of Disney
Correct.
yet, right? Yeah.
Yeah.
So they really did a great job, brought this whole computer animation thing
Yeah.
into existence. Although I think now like there's too much computer animation, they should do some normal animations again. I miss those two, I have to say.
Yeah. I think I agree with you actually on that. But the other thing we were discussing during the break while I was playing was, so it's sung by Randy Newman, who also sings the theme song to this show Monk, which aired originally on USA and is a fantastic show that we both love, which we discovered through my mom, I think. I don't know how we discovered this, but I remember sitting on the Donau in Vienna one night over the summer and talking about this show Monk, which if you haven't seen, go watch it. It's great. It's with Tony Shalhoub, and it's about a detective with OCD, and the theme song is wonderful. And somehow it got to Vienna when Steve was growing up, and Steve also likes the show.
Yeah, I think both of our moms like the show. Like my mom always loved those detective series and everything,
me
and I
too.
started watching it with her. And I have to say, like the German version, normally I really don't like translated. Like dubbed stuff.
Yeah.
It's very bad, but the German version, they got it, I think, in this case, spot on.
Yeah.
Yeah, surprisingly, yeah. They first had another one, but
Okay.
then they changed him, and then they really got it spot on with all the actors, and they got all the jokes across. Like his personal struggle, but also together with the struggle of others,
Right.
and still they're his friends. You know,
Yeah.
that
They love him.
they love him. The lieutenant and
Natalie.
Natalie,
Yeah.
Verona,
Yeah.
Randy.
Yeah.
Great show. Really, if you haven't seen Monk or Mr. Monk, you should watch it. But take care, don't watch the last 2 episodes first. Like,
Yeah,
you should
definitely
really,
don't. Why would anyone do that first, though?
well, yeah. I mean, if you put on the TV and you realize,
If you happen to see, this
Yeah,
is on TV,
yeah.
if you still watch TV somehow, and you're scrolling through the channels and you see it, and it's, somehow you recognize it's the second to last or last episode of the show, then stop watching it and start over.
Yeah, definitely.
Okay. Let's go back to the quiz, unless you have more on Monk.
No?
Okay. So the next question, do you want to ask me?
Yeah.
7.
No, but
Yeah.
Do you have a secret hunch about how you will die?
Well, I don't know how secret it is, because I do have family medical history with heart problems. So that's a hunch that I've had. I don't keep it secret. So no, there's nothing, like, no premonition about, I've seen the way I'm going to die, which I'm happy I haven't had that premonition, because that would be tough to live with, I think.
Yeah.
Do you know how you're going to die?
Do I know how I'm gonna die? No, I've actually no clue how I'm gonna die, because there's no common pattern in my family history. Also, not my mom's dad or my dad's side. There's no coherence whatsoever. No
narrative, just random death.
Random deaths all the time, like unhealthy health choices. I'd say too, but I can't say anything.
Okay.
Yeah.
Sorted.
Name 3 things you and your partner appear to have in common.
Okay, well, we already talked about Monk. We both love Monk.
Monk, yeah.
What's another thing we both? Let's see.
We like football, soccer.
Yeah, I would say our mutual interests include, and this is just one answer, but like football, history,
I'd say we love going out for a good party also, so.
That's not an answer. This is specific to you and me, that we both like to go to parties that are good parties.
That's true. That's true, though.
I would say the third thing that we share is that we're both pretty skeptical people.
Yeah, I guess that's true.
But we love being skeptical and kind of cynical.
Yeah.
I think you wear it a bit more on your sleeve, this cynicism. Like you put it out there for the whole world to see.
Yeah.
And that's you, and that's great. And I sometimes do that as well, but we definitely both love throwing shade at the world in certain ways. So that's something.
Yeah, I'd say that's a very important thing, I think.
Yeah, healthy skepticism.
Yeah, people are not skeptical enough very often, and a bit more skepticism would help.
People need to think through things. Maybe let's get back to a song. Give the people a break from our talking. But in the break, we're going to give you another quiz you can fill out, and we'll fill it out on our own as well. And this quiz is actually a BuzzFeed quiz. So if you love BuzzFeed, this is for you. I'm putting it in the chat right now. Feel free to fill it out while we play this next song, which is a song that I love, and think of Steve when this song comes. All right, we're back. What did you say? Friends of yours are watching?
Yeah.
Want to shout them out?
Hi to Julia, Sophie, and Ellie for watching the show back in Vienna, and Ellie in Paris. Thank you so much. I'm gonna call you in the next couple of days.
Nice. Hopefully you guys filled out the Beatles quiz. We both got Lennon, right?
Yeah.
Yeah. Um, so hopefully you guys also felt like you got the right Beatle.
I'm sure though in the quiz they left out Stuart Sutcliffe and Pete Best. You know the two
please
Pete Best.
enlighten us.
Like Pete Best actually was like the first drummer of the Beatles.
Uh-huh.
Apparently he wasn't good enough. He and back then his mom denied that. I cannot. I'm not a music expert to say which version is true or
Okay.
not. And Stuart Sutcliffe, actually, that's a really sad story. He left the Beatles, I
Yeah.
think, but he died in 1962. He was
Mhm.
very, very young. I think he had a car accident or something like that, and he had a head injury. And they couldn't figure out at the time how to help him. And like they thought also, I think he was making stuff up. I'm not sure about the story, but he died very, very young. But
That's sad.
he was the most handsome of the 5 or 6,
Really?
actually. Yeah, like girls like loved him at the time. But of course nowadays this was before they went, global and
Yeah.
everything.
Yeah.
He's a bit forgotten, but there's a movie about him, and he had
Oh,
a
really?
German girlfriend. Yeah, so yeah.
Okay. The more you know. Yeah, and I had chosen that song to represent Steve because, well, it's a great song. The vibe is sort of Steve to me, but also the USSR is in the title and mentioned. And as we know, Steve, knows a lot about the USSR and is forever tied to that era of history in my mind. But maybe we get back to some questions. Is that right?
Yeah.
Great. Okay, Steve. Number 9. For what in your life do you feel most grateful?
For my friends and family, to be honest, like that everything is good right now.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Cool. If you could change anything about the way you were raised, what would it be?
Yeah, my parents not smoking in the flat. That was super horrible. Like, yeah, that's a
Yeah.
no-go.
That's
Like that was the
easy answer,
90s,
maybe.
and like, but this time is over. Don't do this to your kids, please. Like, smoke outside.
Yeah, good advice from Steve. Big brain Steve here. If you could wake up tomorrow having gained any one quality or ability, what would it be?
Probably speaking Arabic. It's very painful that I can't speak Arabic
Why?
because I've got family in Ghana and Lebanon, and I actually don't speak their language. We always speak in English, but it would be nice to speak with them in Arabic. And it's a very beautiful language, a very strong language.
Mhm.
When my dad was on the phone, the whole house could hear him. Like we had a flat in a house, and like the other neighbors could hear him because like Arab is a very loud language, I'd say,
Yeah.
to speak. Yep.
Okay, great. Also, keep commenting in the chat if you have special answers to these questions, or you have questions for Steve, because Steve is, well, hopefully will be on the show at some point in the future. But now's your chance. You have him live in studio, so feel free to shoot out some questions. We're gonna play another song for you guys. This one is a song from Steve, and we're back. Steve, a lot of questions for you. First of all, love apples. Thanks, Alyssa. This apple is very good. And Steve, here's a question for you from Ron. Do you think there's credible evidence of aliens visiting Earth?
No, I don't think so. I guess aliens could exist somewhere out there, but I doubt that they have found us. And even if like they might just be bacteria or some very simple life forms.
Yeah.
Of course, like I saw a few months ago the releases of the tapes the United States Army has, and especially one of them was very intriguing.
Mhm.
Since then, I'm like, okay, maybe there is something behind it, because like this video has been on YouTube for a long time, but I always thought it's fake.
Yeah.
But like basically the Pentagon said the video is real and we don't know what it is. So
Wow.
like, but I still don't believe.
They haven't come yet.
I think it was something else. And I mean, for instance, like I once saw the Iranians once caught a drone by the United States,
Yeah.
and like I had never seen such a flight vehicle before, in my life. And then the Iranians showed it to the world how a US drone looks like. And I was like, okay, that looks like a spaceship. So why shouldn't like, any other country fly around somewhere with some kind of weird thing we don't know about? Yeah.
Interesting. And then pre-USSR, how do you feel about the Tsar family? That's from
Well,
Anne.
not really good. Like I think
No.
the Romanovs were really bad people. They didn't know how to lead the country. A lot of anti-Semitism, and a lot of Islamophobia, a lot of religious repression. Actually, Lenin, like whatever your take on him is, he one of the things he wrote is like that the Muslims are now free in the free to have their religion
Okay.
in Russia, to like have their mosques and everything. Um, the Romanovs, they wanted war, and it was crazy because like basically the king of Britain of the time, the emperor of Germany, and the emperor, the Tsar of Russia, they were cousins,
Yeah.
or two of them were the second cousins, and all of them had Queen Victoria from the United Kingdom as their grandmother, and King William of Germany said like if she was still alive, this thing would have never happened, the First World War. But like there was a lot of corruption, and this whole story of Rasputin, like you know how they treated people. He basically raped girls because he thought he had healing powers.
Yeah, crazy guy.
Like my grandfather, for instance, he was like a conservative man, a very conservative man.
Yeah.
And my mom in school learned about the Russian Romanov family, and my mom said, came home from school and told my grandfather, you know, why did they kill the Romanovs? It was so bad, you know, and communism. My granddad, as a very conservative man who really didn't like the USSR or anything about communism, he said there was a reason why people hated them and why they got killed, and I agree on that 100%.
All right. There you go. All right, we don't have time to answer all these questions. You think Trotsky's a friend, though? Rafa asked.
Trotsky's a friend.
Okay. We can't get to Ron's larger question about Russia-China politics, unfortunately, but we'll think about it. Maybe we play another song, and then we will have time for a few more questions for each other. How's that sound?
Yeah.
Good. All right, here is another tune. All right, we're back. Yeah, that was a ridiculous BuzzFeed quiz. That's very true, Katie. We just took it. And Steve, which ousted Arab Spring ruler did you get?
Ben Ali from Tunisia.
And you're not very happy about getting that? Huh?
Nah, I think there were more prolific figures in the Arab Spring. Like no one remembers him. Like there were
I didn't
other
know.
like
Yeah.
there were like, I mean, the thing with Tunisia is, of course, is that that's kind of the only country where the revolution at the end really worked. Like I could go more in detail with that and my opinions, but like, yeah, Ben Ali wasn't a good man, but also like there were more important figures in the whole thing at the end, I think.
Gaddafi.
Like
Rafa says he got Gaddafi.
Like Gaddafi, that's like of course Egypt, of course. Like then a lot of things actually also happened like in Saudi Arabia or something, you know, but no one talks about that, of course, but like people got killed by the Saudi regime.
Yeah. Switching gears slightly, I'm going to ask a question from that 36 question list. What do you value most in a friendship?
Like, however I mess up or screw up, like the person will still like me, love me, respect me.
So loyalty.
Loyalty, basically, yeah.
I would have the same answer. And then let's see. What would you say is the greatest accomplishment of your life?
That's a very good question. I'd say to be happy right now.
Yeah.
Actually, yeah.
Always an accomplishment.
Yeah, always an accomplishment to be happy.
One last thing before we're going to have to go in a few minutes. Obviously, there's a big election coming up in a few days in the States. This matters a lot to a lot of people listening. Should matter to everyone, I guess. We've talked about it a lot. I guess I'm wondering how you're feeling right now, Steve, about the U.S. election. So
to begin with, I saw Trump coming 4 years ago.
Really?
Because I looked at all the disappointed people in the different states like Michigan, like Pennsylvania, and I thought like it cannot go on like that, and people will love someone, whoever he is, like from the outside, um, promising things. Like people were afraid of changes, like losing the jobs in the coal mines
Yeah.
and things like that. I heard an interview with a guy 4 years ago. He said he's voting for Trump and he knows about the environmental issues. He knows that coal mining is not the best, but he didn't trust Hillary Clinton to give him an adequately good job. So he said, at least Trump will keep the shitty job I have right now for me, and that's why I'm voting Trump. So also like this whole thing about all Trump voters being stupid is not correct in my mind, especially like from the more northern states. Like of course in the south there's a bunch of mixed with racism with it, but I think Trump, all of these things he had, all of these elements he got 4 years ago, like being the guy who comes in from the outside, the guy who keeps the jobs. A lot of people from coal mines still lost their jobs. The economy right now is going down the drain because of Corona. His Corona management was very bad. I don't know if you look at Europe now, it's so much worse because everyone is failing. But like the way he lied to the people, saying to the public like Corona is not a big deal. So then you hear a secret phone call with him saying like, well, we have a big problem here right now. I don't think people will honor that, and I think like places like Michigan, places like Pennsylvania will turn blue. I don't think it will be a landslide for Biden, but I think Biden will win and the United States will kind of go back to the status quo where they were in 2016, basically.
All right. Well, I guess we'll see. We'll watch it together. Everyone listening, hopefully, if you're from the States, you've already voted or you're going to. If you're not from the States, get all your friends from the States to go vote. It's going to be a very big day for the whole world. So that's all the time we have. Steve, thanks so much for coming.
Thanks for having me.
It's great to have you on. We'll be back next week. Hopefully Bella will be back, maybe Steve as well. But until then, have a great week and happy All Saints Day, happy belated Halloween, and happy early Dia de los Muertos. This is another song Steve chose to describe our friendship. But that's all from us. See you later.